Once there was a school which, in the time-honored way, asked its students to write an essay about the history of their city, its famous sons and daughters, its buildings and monuments. No difficult task in the beautiful city of Bruges, where history lies round every corner.
Let's get going then. And straight away we meet Jan van Eyck, the renowned Flemish primitive artist who, with his brother, painted the mystic Lamb of Ghent. He later came to the court of Burgundy in Bruges, where he spent the rest of his life. Not a bad start for an essay.
Now, who's this little white bear in the facade of the Burgers' Lodge? He's the oldest burgher of Bruges, the emblem of the Order of the White Bear, which organized tournaments in the 15th century. Another good subject.
The Grand Place, so noble and beautiful with its elegant buildings. First stop, the Hall and the Belfry.
Here we find Jan Bredel and Peter de Koning immortalized in bronze. Was it in 1302 that they led the Flemish army to victory over the French? Ah, history isn't always easy, is it, Anne-Marie?
Now what could I write about those two heroes of Bruges, or the Battle of the Golden Spurs? It was so long ago.
For Anne-Marie, the adventure begins here, a story with a single theme. Yes, that's right, the beautiful city of Bruges.
What do you think, Bredel? Shall we lend her a hand? Even in our time it wasn't easy, and without our help she might fail altogether. Shall we go then?
So off they went. Those who know how it was join those who know how it is today. They must have stood here by the Al and the Belfry about 700 years ago, but the Hotel de Buchhouten and the Kranenburg appeared later. The provincial palace dates from the beginning of this century, while the guild houses date back to the 16th.
And now, Jan and Peter, our bell ringer. Have you ever heard anything like it?
From up there in the belfry, 83 meters above the town, 47 bells send down a cascade of music.
An amazing musician. He even plays with both feet. Look at our city, Jan. Isn't it something to be proud of? And our battle, what a moment in history.
Oh, so many different architectural styles in one place. The Burg, with the Palace of Franck of Bruges, with the Greffe Civile, the Town Hall, and the Church of the Holy Blood.
The town hall, year of our Lord 1376, Although the statues of the facade were destroyed during the French Revolution, the gaps were soon filled with biblical figures, as well as statues of the counts, dukes, and kings who once ruled Flanders. The doors open into this solemn and splendid place, the Gothic hall of the Hôtel de Ville.
At least we feel at home here. It brings back so many memories. Under the splendid vaulted roof, richly ornamented, so many people are represented. Religious figures and local citizens, about 60 in all. Look, Jan. They haven't forgotten us. There we are on the wall. I never realized we looked so sturdy. Look, Anne-Marie. See how Bruges welcomed us back after the Battle of the Golden Spurs. What a day to remember. What joy on our return. Streets full of people. It's great to see all our old friends again. You can't imagine what a happy time that was, Anne-Marie.
The Church of the Holy Blood. The Middle Ages were drawing to a close. Here they keep, with great reverence, several drops of the blood of our Lord brought back from Jerusalem, or possibly Constantinople, by Thierry of Alsace. People have worshipped here down through the centuries.
The crypt under the chapel dates from the 12th century. It's the oldest and most striking Roman interior in West Flanders. And here's a tympan depicting the baptism of Christ.
The presbytery. Baroque style, but not far removed from the Renaissance. In times gone by, it was here that the bishop administered justice according to church law.
The Palace of Justice, the old palace of the Franco Bruges or the buitenporters, people from outside the port area.
The old and new coexist in harmony. Since 1980, there's been a shopping arcade on the Berg, Ter Stekere.
Hey, you men of the Middle Ages, come and see how 20th century women dress.
The coachmen drive their carriages out from the Berg. They are so much at home with the history of Bruges sitting up there. They're not above joking about it, just for the fun of it.
I decided to take Jan and Peter by the hand, like two wide-eyed children, to show them the delights of our century, which they couldn't quite believe. Their eyes feasted on the old facades of the palaces and the buildings, the houses of the burghers and the guilds.
Bruges had to deal with the influx of modern traffic. Her narrow streets made it very difficult to park. Historic squares were being marred by huge car parks. The solution? Move the cars underground. On the initiative of the local council, the Nepark Company planned and constructed the most modern of their kind in Europe, 4 underground car parks with a total capacity of 1,650 vehicles. It's all fully automated, like the central car park underneath the Zand. Coming from the coast, the motorway or the center of town, there's easy access by tunnel. You emerge in the heart of town where, if you want to, you can hire a bike. Bruges is very fond of bikes.
Do you think our intrepid heroes of 1302 would hesitate to step on a modern escalator?
Back on ground level, the vast expanse of the Zand, and this contemporary work by De Peut Canestraro, Bruges, Zwin, anglers, bathers. With a total of 76, Bruges has the highest concentration of hotels in Europe in such a small area, and the best facilities in terms of family hotels and personal service. The personal touch is the secret of hospitality, an interior full of charm, a variety of styles to suit every category.
Hotel de Krone in Wijnzaakstraat, formerly one of the city's oldest wine taverns. It is now the Bruges headquarters of the Communal Credit Bank.
Nowadays, thanks to its modern branches, the Communal Credit Bank really is a bank for everyone. A communal and provincial bank, the Communal Credit Bank has made it possible to restore and renovate several historic buildings in the city. One of the finest examples of the Gothic style typical of Bruges at the beginning of the 16th century, just as it would look in a painting by Peter Purbus or in maps by Marcus Gerards.
Enjoying themselves immensely, our two friends are led towards the Flessinge, a bar in Bleekerstraat, which dates from 1515. In other words, the oldest bar in Bruges, still frequented by painters and poets, actors and singers. Here's one of them, Willy Lustenhauer.
Nou, wie nam het door?
Jan Bredel en Pieter de Koning.
De die van de Hoek de Boomstoel?
Maar wanneer? Dat zijn dachten. Van het standbeeld van op de Grote Markt. Wat voor een goede wind waait er hier naar hier, meneer? En wat we hier drinken?
And they hear how beautiful Bruges still is and always will be.
Brugge is toch schoon, hè? Brugge is schoon 's nachts vroeg. Als een dauw over de rijtjes hangt.
Bruges, how lovely she is in the morning, with the mist still hovering over the canals, when the tops of the towers catch the first rays of sunshine, which go on to light up the facades and gables between the Grand Place and the city wall.
Het rood van de daken en bruin van de gevels. Van aan de markt toe aan de lonen. Brugge, Brugge is altijd schone. Brugge is schone overdag. Als moeder zonne met een lach. Al de kleuren die
How lovely when the clear light of day shatters into 1,000 colors amid the song of the bells. A rich palette of sound, painting a musical tapestry.
Och, worden dat allemaal in kleuren en klanken omgezet. Dat worden kronen van Brugge. Brugge is altijd schone. Brugge is schone, s'avonds, als de mantel van de rusten wordt geleid over de stad.
Bruges, how lovely she is in the evening when a blanket of peace covers houses, towers and people, and even the birds fall silent.
En rust brengt en stilte, dat zelfs een vogel niet meer zingt in oog of lege toon. Brugge, ons kleine Brugge, is altijd, altijd schone. Brugge is schone in de nacht, in peace en vrede en rusten.
How lovely she is at night, bathed in peace and slumber, as if a fairy had caressed the town with her wand and sent everyone, young and old, to the land of dreams.
Zij niet meer hoort en niet meer ziet, en stroten nog in lonen. Brugge, ons kleine Brugge, is altijd, altijd schone.
Het zijn toch nog geen woorden, ik denk dat je dat niet doen dat ik zeg. Hera, mag je in die zetel niet zitten, hè? Dat is de zetel waar daar Rubens nog in gezeten heeft.
I suppose Rubens' chair is only a legend. But with Death of the Virgin, by Hugo van der Goes, 15th century, Bruges starts to uncover her true art treasures. The Madonna of Canon van der Pijl, by Jan van Eyck. After the Mystic Lamb, his principal work, a painting of the 1440s destined for the church of Saint-Donatien, where the canon was buried. A realistic portrayal that faithfully depicts the deeply lined face of an old man.
The former St. John's Hospice, now the Memling Museum. Once a refuge for travelers, it's now the home of 6 of the artist's finest works. Here, beyond a doubt, is his masterpiece, The Mystic Marriage of St. Catherine, featuring the 2 St. Johns, the Baptist and the Evangelist. Sibylla Sambetha, 1480, the Mona Lisa of Bruges. The Shrine of St. Ursula, decorated with paintings of the legend of the saint and the 11,000 virgins. The life and martyrdom of a Breton princess who was assassinated at Cologne on her return from Rome.
The Hotel Groothuis. A rich and powerful Bruges family lived here at the end of the Middle Ages. This patrician dwelling is now a museum. Here we can see what life was like in that age of abundance and prosperity. The Groothuis family held a trading monopoly for a secret mixture of herbs used by the brewers of the time. Beer brings wealth, and here's the proof. More is in you, says the family motto. They owned the finest library of the time. Unfortunately, this was transferred to the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris. Looking at the kitchen, it's easy to imagine the huge appetites people had in those days. It's as if the delicious cooking smells of the medieval kitchen were still wafting out of the pots and pans. Rich tapestries hang on the de Groothuis walls. They would have represented the 7 liberal arts. 3 of them remain in Bruges. Of particular note is the one symbolizing dialectic and eloquence. And this one, astrology and astronomy. The studios they came from are lost in the mists of time.
In 1939, there was a folklore museum and then a communal museum of popular art. Among other things, we can see a little school from the years 1900 to 1920, a cobbler's workshop, a dwelling, a shop, hundreds of relics of a bygone age, not all that long ago. There's still a guild of archers of St. Sebastian and of crossbowmen of St. George with their royal and princely titles. They were already in existence in the 13th century, and they also took part in the Battle of the Golden Spurs.
Nowadays, they can also train undercover. Here's a chance to assess the difference between the men of today and yesterday. Is that right, Jan and Peter?
The insignia of honor have been kept here down the ages.
It's said that the windmills of God only turn at their own pace. I wonder if this is the reason that more than 20 of them were erected on the city walls of Bruges. Only 3 have survived, including the windmill of St. John's Hospice, 16th to 17th century. With its cross-shaped arms, it seems to be blessing the town with riches and prosperity.
You can be sure of finding good food in Bruges, whether it's just a quick snack or a gourmet meal. Let's see what our friend Bradel thinks. The portions seem very small compared to the feasts in the Middle Ages. What are these little things? Haute cuisine or traditional fare, Bruges restaurants excel in quality and quantity. In and around the town, no fewer than 20 establishments have been awarded stars or forks by the food guides. Most of these restaurants are in old houses, and since the sea is never far away, fish features prominently on the menu.
Rumour has it that our now replete friends were next drawn to the charms of a little garden kept in the style of the Middle Ages. And despite the birds singing in the sky and the water splashing in the fountain, they all fell into a deep sleep. Dreams carried them far, far away, to the Bruges of long ago, the Bruges of Jan and Peter.
on, boys, wake up. Back to the 20th century and my homework.
(1304), Mons-en-Pévèle, another stormy clash between the Flemish and the French. The Flemings who survived the battle swore to burn a huge candle weighing 36 pounds every year during a procession leaving the Blindekenskapelle and ending at Notre-Dame de la Poterie. The women who had watched over the home faithfully kept up this tradition. Every August 15th, the custom lives on in the streets of the city.
Renowned for its faith and its history, Bruges is the ideal setting for the processions and festivals that dazzle its thousands of visitors. Every year, on Ascension Day, the procession of the Holy Blood is a kind of apotheosis. Its origins are lost in the mists of time. But Genesis, the life of Jesus, and the legend of the Holy Blood are reenacted every year by some 2,000 participants. Music and dance troupes, horse riders, theater companies from in and around Bruges, an enormous undertaking of international renown. Thierry of Alsace, Count of Flanders, bringing back the blood of Christ, the reliquary itself, and a carry-on wheels, brings this unique event to its close.
The Cathedral of St. Saviour, whose origins date back to the 12th century. The Gothic superstructure is built on Roman foundations. The Baroque gallery is crowned by the figure of God the Creator in white marble by Artus Quélin the Younger, 1682. Under the Pulpit of Truth is Saint Eloi, who, if legend is to be believed, founded the primitive church of the 9th century. He was treasurer to the King of France, as well as Bishop of Noyon. For the occasion of the Emperor Maximilian's visit to the chapter of the Golden Fleece, the choir was presented with these finely sculpted stalls.
A spire of 121 meters, the highest in the Low Countries and made entirely of brick, surmounts the Church of Notre Dame, an ancient porch known as Paradise. The Madonna and Child by Michelangelo, commissioned by a Flemish merchant. The work was shipped to Bruges at the start of the 16th century. The tombs of Marie de Bourgogne and her father Charles le Téméraire are the church's most interesting feature. The body, thought to be that of Charles, was brought from Nancy around 1550. Marie died in Bruges at the age of 25 in 1482.
Bruges is sometimes known as the Venice of the North, thanks to her network of canals, which offer some wonderful boat trips. Discovering the old city from its waterways has the dreamlike quality of stepping back in time.
On Saturdays and Sundays in summer, the traditional flea market takes place. It's unusual to find a genuine antique, but the colourful and lively atmosphere makes up for this and never fails to attract the crowds. This small apartment hotel isn't far from the canal. It's for families who want to spend a week or a weekend at moderate prices.
The swans that glide over the still waters are legendary in the city. Indeed, with their long necks, they feature on the coat of arms of the tax collector Pierre Lancals, assassinated in 1488 by the bourgeois opposed to Maximilian. In penance for this murder, the city promised to ensure that swans would always remain on the waters of Bruges.
The Béguinage of Bruges, known the world over. The Béguines took up residence in 1245. The Benedictines replaced them in 1920, but respected and maintained the religious traditions and habit. Still living in their traditional lodges, there are between 15 and 20 of them, of various nationalities. In earlier times, the rich among them supported the less well-off, who took on the role of servants. From the 15th century, lace makers were busy at their work in the streets of the town. Bruges lacework, beyond time or fashion, is found all over the world. There's no shortage of shops where you can buy this wonderfully intricate work at a price that reflects the painstaking hours spent on it. It bears witness to the enduring skill of the lace makers.
Thanks to the prosperity of its port, Bruges was once an important trading centre in Western Europe. Until 1653, ships from the high seas drew alongside the walls of the city, which had to fight to maintain a maritime role that had endured for 10 centuries. Hence the birth of Zeebrugge, the port area of Bruges and the main fishing port of Belgium, with an annual turnover of 1,400,000,000 francs in fish and shrimps.
Fresh shrimps washed down with a glass of beer is an experience not to be missed on the quayside. But dreams don't last forever, and Jan Bredel, Peter de Koning, and Anne-Marie are nearing the end of their extraordinary adventure, where past and present have mingled.
They can hear the hubbub of the port. Designed to accommodate the biggest modern ships, Since the 1970s, it has seen amazing development. In 1985, the first phase was completed. Under the leadership of the MBZ, the Port Authority of Bruges, Zeebrugge has become Belgium's third port and the leading continental car ferry link with the United Kingdom. More than 10,000 ships dock here every year, loading and unloading a vast range of merchandise. Terminals have been built to handle general merchandise in both roll-on, roll-off and conventional containers. And they also handle heavy goods, from coal or coke to minerals or whatever. Giant cranes with tremendous lifting power are put to the test. The fruit terminal houses many exotic varieties, kiwi and citrus fruits, bananas, etc., rapidly shipped from Zeebrugge to all over Europe. Covered areas of more than 25,000 square meters house products according to specific requirements. Special lifts and conveyor belts handle vast quantities of goods in a very short space of time. And that's not all. Each year, some 2 million passengers pass through the port of Zeebrugge. It has an ideal position on the North Sea, a sophisticated technical infrastructure, competitive rates, many advantages for this major port. And what about energy? Over the next few years, Zeebrugge will become the major center for the import and distribution of Norwegian natural gas. Today, the youngest form of energy and the oldest seem to be joining forces. Back to the Grand Place, and you would need the soul of a poet to do justice to these farewells. In Bruges, you often have the feeling you're in a dream. And once again, our two heroes take their places on the pedestal.
Thanks again, both of you, for all your help with my essay.
Oh well, here we are again, Jan and me. Until your next visit. A stone's throw from the Belfry, in the heart of Brugge de Skåne, beautiful Bruges.